So, and this is how you prevent the deterioration of the joints, is to do preventative maintenance with the filler. Almost. And then the only last component, which I talked to Glenn about today, is they're going to have to come back through and do the pavement markings, because most of them have been removed because of being cut out at the joints. So we'll probably try to wait until Superior is completely done so we can do Superior and Racco at the same time.
Yeah, I think it looks good, the way they're doing it.
Well,
I know, but
It allows us to stretch our money a lot farther than we otherwise could. I mean, you know, like if we, in this case, we're spending $750,000 to do Superior Road from Racco all the way to Telegraph, where we were planning on spending $1.1 million just to do from Hardy to Telegraph. So, you know, and that would have been an asphalt overlay instead of a concrete, so this allows us to keep concrete in place. And our goal is this will buy us 10 years, and you know, we're just literally, you know, without knowing the full impact of the state's plan, we're trying to repair as much of this as we can before the winter, so that we don't have to run on so many of these pothole repairs.
See, number 29 is for Belfor Restoration. MJ White and Sons and Signal Restoration to provide port services for the city of Taylor through June of June 30th, 2016.
I got a question on that. We approved 3 different contractors. The commenting recommendations on the bid summary,
Yeah.
the scoring, Belfor scored the lowest.
right.
So low is better?
Low is better.
Low is better.
Yeah. So, but if you also look at one of the
like my golf game.
one of the concerns that we had with Belfor is to kind of give you a simple breakdown. Belfor and Signal do the primary fire restoration or fire board ups. But Belfor has this caveat that only when it's a non-emergency or something. Well, unfortunately, everything they do is an emergency. So they don't come back. They don't really give us a definitive price. So we kind of took the angle of approving all 3. MJ White does primarily, their work is with the police department. They've done a little bit of board ups, not so much with fire, more on PD. I believe you guys have been using them for quite some time, Chief. Is that?
Probably 3 years.
Okay.
So
And Belfor and Signal have both been used in fire.
just with Jarvis, because their score was a little bit lower than Signal at a 92. Oh, did not attend the mandatory pre-bid meeting, so they were just
DQ.
excluded at that point. Okay.
Now, I mean, do they just use regular wood to do the board ups, or is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Do they offer any other material besides wood to board up? Anybody?
Usually
Well,
OSB.
sometimes like if, you know, the fire department's a little unique. You know, a lot of times, you know, these companies will come out and, you know, people don't really have anything to do with swap a lot of times. So it's customer service is key, to me anyways, for the company. And what they usually use is wood on the doors and on the windows. Sometimes they'll put like a tarp or something on the roof, because sometimes they can put a hole in the roof or something like that.
Well, they'll put an aspen piece on or lock on there sometimes, so you can, the homeowner can get in there and maybe try to salvage some stuff.
Right.
Real quick, I was just curious, you know, since we're approving all 3, is there a certain criteria that either one of you are going to use to decide who you're going to have do a board up? I guess you
Well, I mean,
said,
it's always good to have a couple different board of companies in case there's a major disaster. Like I said, the main thing is the customer service aspect.
Especially with the fire.
You know, a lot of these people don't have anything, you know, special needs, you know, little things that they may need, something like that, and attention to detail. And you know, I was concerned a little bit when Signal first, you know, kind of took over for Belfor, but you know, just before I was chief. But I've actually when seeing them on scene and dealing with the citizens when they have a fire or loss, it's really impressive. So I'm actually happy with Signal right now.
So to your question about the process, the majority of PD will remain with MJ White. They do a lot of biohazard stuff that the other 2 aren't so specialized in. The fire will likely be split between Belfor and Signal in some capacity. It just really comes down to availability and that caveat of, you know, what's going to happen in emergency situations to the
Right.
price. We don't, you know, we have to make sure that we're covered.
Okay.
Kind of like the engineers, we'll also
Yeah.
have a process for that, how they're used and implemented. One of the things that I'm not big on is one of anything. You know, having options, not just for the residents, but for the city of Taylor.
Right.
Competition's good.
Okay, moving on to items 30 through 38. These are more blanket purchase orders for the police department.
Yes, Madam Chair, these are all standard vendor blanket POs as we did last year. I would like to call your attention to the last one for professional services. Under McGraw and Norris, that should be changed to Gina U. Pozzoli. She is no longer with that firm.
Right, that's what I was gonna mention.
Yes.
Now, what number was that, Chief?
It's
I don't think
30,
that-
actually.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
it's
say.
The last one.
You said number 30 now?
It is. 30.
Okay, so Cybers is another company?
Yes, and then Gina was the second one.
Did any of you have any questions on those? Nine items?
Chief, on 34, is that, I didn't look at the comparable, is that similar to the previous year, the Board of Prisoners?
I believe it was up a bit because we had more arrests. Yeah, if I recall when doing the budget, we did increase that a little bit because we are on a trend of having more arrests. So obviously more arrests are more prisoners, more detentions.
So that number's up, you don't know how much?
I don't know, can I give it to you?
I was just curious, I know it's in that neighborhood, I know it's,
It's not a lot. It's not a whole lot.
Okay, we can skip 39 through 41 because we've already done those. On to 42. This is receive and file personal contract between the court and the DWI coordinator.
Well, all these personal service contracts we have already approved
With the budget?
with the budget, right?
That's what I thought.
They don't have to bring forward, if the contract, I think it's less than a year or less, and you don't have to move any funds around, just within the entire budget.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be approved by.
Right, that's why again, that could probably be a consent right there too.
Yeah.
unless there's an issue, or, I mean, they are receive and file.
Right,
but
right.
whatever your pleasure is, you know,
We can just do
What did you say about the term of the contract?
less than a year.
Yeah, less than a year. Has to
Have
be
you
within
been
that fiscal
rolling as
year.
one-year contracts for a long time?
I think last year they got quarters to the file.
I think last year was the first year that I saw the 1 year. Previous to that, they were longer periods of time.
Sheila, are you, just so council's aware, I mean, you don't, how involved are you in negotiation with their contract, these contracts?
We're not involved at all.
Zero.
Zero. They basically just email the contracts over, and just as kind of a reference point that these changes need to be made.
Number 43, is that person still planning on retiring in the next couple months?
I understand.
Yeah, that's fine.
To the best of our knowledge.
So tradition, you're allowed to extend the contract too, correct?
If there's provisions in the previous contract to extend, you could. You wouldn't have to make it for a full year. I mean, you pretty much can make the terms.
Month by month.
I've not received any official retirement notices. I know there's been some open discussion, even at budget time, about a potential upcoming retirement.
And to answer your question the best that I can, I've heard nothing different than what the strategy that was discussed at that point in time, which was September, October, the individual would consider retirement at that point in time.
I got another question too. Have we always had a deputy court administrator?
Yes, that position has been.
The pensions are through MERS, the benefits are part of their annual budget, is that correct? That the medical, retirement, active, all that is in their annual budget that gets approved by council?
No, I'll have to defer to Jason for the
The
retirement.
retirement expense is not in the course budget. The retirees' health and other expenses are not in the course budget. It's down in the general employees' retirement.